There are millions of professing Christian men who are addicted to internet pornography, and far too often we have a tendency to forget about somebody else in this scourge, his wife.
One of the most painful ordeals any wife can experience is the discovery that her husband has a problem with pornography. Women often feel overwhelmed with what to do when this happens. I've talked with so many of these women, and I know something of how devastating it can be. If you've recently made a discovery like this, I want to try to help you think in terms of 4 categories. First, don't struggle alone. Get help. The first person you need to seek is Jesus. Draw near to him with prayer and scripture. He loves you and wants you to seek him to receive mercy and grace to help in your time of need. He will draw near to you when you draw near to him. You also need to seek help from other people. Your situation is going to be filled with 1,000 details and 1,000,000 frustrations for which you need the listening ear and wise words of a trusted advisor. Find a godly friend, a wise pastor, or a biblical counselor who can walk with you down this road.
There are 2 potential ditches you might be inclined to fall into, madam. Ditch number 1 is you turn this into permission to gossip and tell everybody. Clearly, you shouldn't do that. But ditch number 2 is that you feel like, I can't tell anybody that my husband does such a dirty thing. This is why Jesus created the church, to do the one another's with one another.
Second, deal with your emotions in a way that honors God. The emotions of anger and sorrow that you're experiencing are strong in the face of the discovery of such perversion and betrayal on the part of your husband. One thing you need to know about these emotions is that they are appropriate. You're supposed to be angry and sad about your husband's sin because God is angry and sad about his sin. Another thing you need to know, however, is that even though your anger and sorrow are appropriate, it's not a blank check for you to do whatever you want. You should not sin in your emotions. You should be concerned that your emotions are sinful when they're unrestrained, leading to outbursts of impure and abusive speech or even to physical harm, and when they lead to bitterness over time.
To avoid that ditch, that's why you needed step number 1. This is step 3.
Third, you need to guard against bitterness. Ephesians 4:31 says, "Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice." You have to be careful not to let bitterness consume you, even about something as terrible as a pornography problem. Letting go of bitterness does not mean that you're never upset or that you excuse ongoing sin. It does mean that you show a willingness to love and forgive your husband from the heart, just as you have been forgiven by Jesus.
That's the key. If you're not remembering just as you have been forgiven by Jesus, really, how could anybody possibly forgive a pornographer? That was step number 3. If you are a wife whose husband is looking at dirty images on a computer, this is step 4.
Fourth, be a wife to your husband, not a cop policing all of his activities. Many women respond to their husband's problem with pornography by making it their personal responsibility to ensure that he never looks at pornography again. They want to become his accountability partner and ask him intensive questions. They stalk his internet history and obsess over checking his phone. If you do this, it will hurt more than help. Your husband needs accountability. He needs tough questions, and he needs to be answerable for what he looks at on the internet. But you can't be the person to do this without damaging your relationship. Instead, find a biblical counselor or otherwise mentor or friend who you can trust to do this and who can work with each of you to help you be reconciled.
Told you, the Bible has the solution for his porn problem and her broken heart.